the 9 Sefiros are basically 3 bridges. In order, a Sefira means, I want to relate to you. The Eibishter wants to relate to us. That's called Sefiros. In order for me to relate to you, I have to have 3 steps. Each step brings me closer to you. That's why the number 3 represents Sholem. 1 is alone, 2 is Milchama, conflict, 3 is Sholem. 3 is a bridge. How do you build a bridge? You put a base over here, a base over here, and connection. So a bridge is always 3 parts. That's why there's Chachma Bina Das, Chesed Gvura Tferes, Netzach Eid Yesod. 3 bridges, each bridge is made up of 3 parts. Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. So let's use Machshava, Dibur, Maisa before you make it, just as an example. What is the difference between Machshava, Dibur, and Maisa? Machshava means I'm thinking about you. But my machshava is in my head and it's for me. It's none of your business. I'm thinking about you and it's none of your business what I'm thinking. And when I think about you, I think whatever I want. I think you're very smart. You're not. I don't care. This is my machshava, I'll think whatever I want. Because machshava is for me, it's not for you. So I don't really care whether this is really you. In my mind, you're a smart guy. And don't bother me with the facts. But at least, I'm thinking about you. So you now exist in my world. What is Dibur? Dibur means I want to tell you something. Which means I want to be Megala me. But I can't say it any way I want, whenever I want. I have to speak your language. I have to wait until you're listening. I have to find out if you're interested. So I have to take you seriously. Otherwise, I'm not going to communicate with you. So speech is like a little bit about me and a little bit about you. It's about me because I'm trying to tell you what I think, what I feel, what I know. And it's a little bit about you because if you don't speak English, then I'm going to have to speak to you in Yiddish. I have to speak your language. And even in your language, I have to speak in a way that you understand me. So I have to be a little bit willing to change to suit you. That's the span of the bridge. A little me, a little you. Maisa is completely about you. It's not about me at all. If you ask me to do you a favor, and I do it a little bit the way you want and a little bit the way I want, don't do me no favors next time, okay? If you're doing me a favor, then do it my way. There's that famous story about the 3 kings who boasted that their soldier was the most devoted. Yeah, remember the story? What was the most devoted soldier? Each king told the soldier to jump out the window. And the first 2 jumped out the window. The third one said, which window would you prefer? To him it doesn't make a difference, he's dead anyway. But maybe to the king it makes a difference. Maybe you want that window. That's a devotion. That's Maisa. When it comes down L'Maisa, it's completely the Mekabel, it's not you at all.
You do Maisa for yourself as well.
That's not really called Maisa. We're talking about...
Completely the mashpia.
Huh?
Completely the mashpia.
No, you're the mashpia. You're the doer. But you do exactly what the Mekabel... Yeah. So you see, that's why it takes 3 steps. First, you have to come into my world. Then I have to meet you halfway. And then I go into your world completely. And that's why Hamaisa Hu Ha'ikeh. In Avodas Hashem. In the bittul to the Eibishter, Hamaisa Hu Ha'ikeh. Now, the same is true with Chochmah Bina Das. Chochmah is completely my idea. I discovered it, I just came up with it, brilliant, my idea. Bina means, wait a minute, what does the idea really need? Develop it. Das means, what does the idea demand? You don't count anymore. Stop with the Chochmas. What does this idea demand? Uvechein. On the right side of the top triangle is Chesed, the left side is Gvura, the middle is Sefiros. The right side on the bottom is Netzach, Heid, Yesod. Chesed and Gvura are my feelings. A person walks around feeling Chesed, like Avram. And when he had nobody to give Chesed, he was frustrated. Same is true with Gvura. A person can walk around feeling strict. Because that's his teva, he's Beis Shammai. Sefiros is Rachamim. Nobody walks around feeling Rachmanos. Unless there's somebody who needs your Rachmanos. So I can walk around saying, I want to give somebody a present, or I want to teach somebody discipline. But I can't walk around saying, I feel so much Rachmanos, can somebody get into trouble? If there's nobody in trouble, then there's no stimulation for Sefiros. So Chesed and Gvura is still me, Sefiros is you. I have to step out of me. I have to feel your problem. Gvura is more you than Chesed. Because in Chesed, I really don't care who you are. Would you like a couple of dollars? I don't care who you are. Here. Have. Gvura means I got to stop and think, wait a minute. Did you finish your job? If you didn't finish your job, I'm not paying you. So it seems like Gvura is more selfish. It's not. Gvura means I have to get down into your world, see what you do, what you deserve, and that's what you're going to get. Not more, not less. Chesed is lazy. I'm in a good mood. I don't care whether you did your job, you didn't do your job. I have no time for you. I'm about Chesed. So Chesed is completely me. Gvura is halfway you. I want to give you, but you have to deserve. So it's like a person. So when a person says, and there are these big Balei Tzedakah, and they have a policy: whoever comes gets $100. Very nice, huh? In other words, a guy dying because he can't afford an operation gets $100. And a guy who wants to buy his kala a fancier necklace gets $100. Why does he have this policy? Because he doesn't want to be bothered with everybody's belly aching and everybody's krachting with their problem. I don't want to hear it. Here's $100, leave me alone. So Gvura would mean I have to get involved with you. Leave me alone. So Chesed, in a sense, is more selfish than Gvura. And Rachmanos is the least selfish of all. It's more about the zulas than the other two. Now these three middays, the top triangle, these are called chayes. All the chayes that a person has is in these three middays.
The ladder?
Huh?
The ladder? These three ladder meters?
The top triangle.
Or the top?
Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, that's where all the chayes is. What do people get excited about? Either Ahava, or Sinna, or Rachmanis. Every book, every drama, every movie, every opera is about somebody loved somebody and they hated him and he hated the other one and this one. And finally he had Rachmanis and they all died and we go home. But it's always about Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. Why? Because these three middays are what I am. This is me. My Chesed, my Gvura, my Tiferes, that's my personality. So if it's me, I get very excited. I love. I hate. I'm scared. I have Rachmanis. I can't stand to see you suffering. It's so much me that there's a lot of chayes in it. It's also called pnimius, mides pnimium, or pnimius hamides. The bottom three, the second triangle, these are called chetzenius hamides because it's a little more practical, shayach lemaisa, and it's called bittul. The bittul that a person has is in these three middays. They're bitteldik. Why are they bitteldik? Because they're not about me. Which is why they're also boring. They're not exciting. There's no chayas. Because it's not about me. They're also chetzenius because it's about something besides me. Outside of me. So let's take a look. Under Chesed, there's Netzach. Netzach is a substitute Chesed. Under Gvura, there's Haid. Haid is like a substitute Gvura. Which means like this. When I have a personal Chesed, I love somebody, and I'm excited, I'm going to be very good to them. What happens when the excitement goes away? And this person that I loved needs a favor. Am I going to do him the favor? That depends on the Netzach. Netzach means when the Chayas goes away, I'm still going to be good. It's like a substitute chesed. It's a chesed without the excitement.
Isn't that more previously? You're still doing it even though you don't have that emotion?
Which means it's not dependent on my feelings.
But it's higher than your feelings.
Yes, stronger.
Stronger.
Under Gvura is Haid. Sometimes I am inspired to Gvura. I am going to discipline myself. I'm never going to have another machshava zara. I'm excited. What's going to happen tomorrow when the excitement is gone? Am I going to have the discipline or not? That depends on your Haid. So Netzach is a backup for Chesed. Haid is a backup for Gvura. So when a person says, I don't know why, I get so excited about something and I really intend to do it, and then I don't. So you can say, well, I guess you were never really excited. If you really love somebody, wouldn't you do them a favor? So if you love somebody and you don't do them a favor, you don't really love them. Not really. You can love somebody very much because you have a lot of chesed, but you don't have any netzach. So your chesed will never act. So why is it called netzachen? Why is it called netzach? If you can continue to be kind even when you don't feel like it, that's a netzachen. It's a victory. Why do you do it if you don't feel the excitement? Because netzach also has a feeling. The feeling is, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. So netzach means you are mevatel yourself to the facts of life. The fact is, this is your mother, you have to honor her. You feel like it, you don't feel like it, stop it. You got to do what you got to do. That's why it's called bitteldik. You're allowing the facts to dictate to you.
Intellectual? It's intellectual?
No. It's like there's a war going on. You gotta join the army.
Why isn't that hoid?
A second. You gotta do what you gotta do. I don't want to go to war. I don't like to go to war. But look, I mean, the matzav, you gotta go. You gotta go. Gotta do what you gotta do.
But during the inspiration, it's considered part of chesed still. Someone's still inspired as part of chesed.
That's a guy who loves to go to war. He can't wait.
What's hoid?
Netzach, 1 second. Netzach means if you gotta go, you gotta go. Imagine a guy says, I'm a netzach person. When something has to get done, I do it. Because you gotta do what you gotta do. So if there's a war going on, I'm going to war. And as he's leaving to go to war, he sees his neighbor is sitting in the backyard with a pitcher of Kool-Aid, suntanning. He said, whoa. I'm going to war and you're going to sit here like a putz? If I have to go, you have to go. So I'm ready to go. I'm willing to do what I got to do. But I'm not going to fight a war for you. In other words, I have a bittul to the emes. I don't have a bittul to you. So if I'm going to war, you're coming too. But you're not going to sit here like a putz while I'm going to war. Haid means I'll go to war and you stay here and be safe. I'll fight for you. This is a bittul not only to a fact, this is a bittul to another human being, which is a much bigger bittul. It's like a couple of weeks ago, I lost a $100 bill. What can you do? Yesterday, some guy said that I owe him $5. I'm giving him no $5. I'll lose the $5, but you're not getting my $5. So I have netzach. I don't have hoid. Hoid means hoidah. I admit to you. Another example. Here another example. A guy says, you know, I thought that Israel should make peace with the Arabs. I really believed it. I was convinced that that's the right thing to do, and as soon as they do it, there'll be peace, and everybody will be happy, and it'll be wonderful. And I was very angry at the Israelis for not making peace. Then I found out that you can't trust the Arabs. They don't want peace. They'll only take advantage. The more peace you offer them, the worse it gets. I made a terrible mistake. And I'm ready to admit it. I was very wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. So you say to this guy, "Oh, you mean Kahana was right? Mayor Kahana was right." He said, "Oh, no, he was wrong. No, he said what you didn't. He was right. No, b'shum from that." In other words, you can admit you were wrong, but it hurts too much to admit that he was right. So admitting that I was wrong is wrong. Netzach. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But he was right when I was wrong? Oh, no. Hoid I don't have. So hoid means a bittul that eliminates me in favor of somebody else. Gvura means I'll eliminate myself when I feel like it. I'll discipline myself, I'll be tough on myself, I'll be a perfectionist, because when I'm in the mood, that's what I'll do. But I'm going to discipline myself so that you win? Oh, that's already too much for me.
So would you say Netzach is more active and Hoid is more not passive, however, more an inner sort of curling in yourself? And Netzach is more of an act upon the fact, and Hoid is more of a...
No, they're both a retreat from self. In Netzach, I retreat from myself. My feelings don't count. Whatever has to happen, I'm going to do. In Hoid, I retreat from myself. Doesn't matter what I feel or gain, as long as you gain. Yesod means Mesiras Nefesh B'Poil. Not I will suffer for you to gain. My life is over so that you can live. Bittul down to the bottom. My whole existence means nothing as long as you can exist. That's called Yesod because that's already the bottom. You can't go any lower than that. So the ultimate bittul is in Yesod. So again, Chesed is about me, Gvura is a little bit less about me, Sefiros is about you. Netzach is a little bit about me, Hoid is less about me, and Yesod is nothing about me at all. Now here's the really interesting thing. Begashmius, Yesod is at the bottom. It is the most boring, the most uninteresting, the least noticed of all things is the Yesod. Nobody looks at the Yesod of a building unless you blow up the building. Then people notice the Yesod. Which means when all else fails, if everything else gets blown away, oh, there's a Yesod. That's Begashmius. Beruchnius, it's the opposite. The Yesod is the beginning of everything, is at the top of everything. Yesod comes first. Tzaddik Yesod Olam, what is he, at the bottom? He's the beginning of everything. Yesod means the simple, everything here is a relationship between people, yeah? Yesod means the basic fact of our relationship. Not how I feel, not what I do, just the fact. My mother is my mother, my father is my father, my sister is my sister. Fact. My wife is my wife. Do I like her? We're not talking about that. It's on camera. Do I think she's great? Do I think she's terrible? We're not talking about what I think. I'm talking about the fact. A wife is a wife. Husband's a husband. Is that the least interesting and the least important part of the relationship? In Hollywood? Yes. The main thing is how you look. Second thing is how you sound. The fourth thing is how much you have in the bank. The last thing is, are we married? Are you my wife? I forget already. Last week you were my wife. You still my wife? It's like a guy says, why am I not nice to my wife? You call her a wife? She's not my wife. You got divorced? Says, no, we didn't get divorced, but she's not my wife. So, but if you're not divorced, then you're married. He says, well, technically, on paper, technically we're married. That's the least important thing? Or is that the most important thing? Same thing with Yidden. What is our attitude towards other Yidden? Say to a guy, give your neighbor a box of matzahs for Pesach. He says, why? He's not Jewish. I said, what are you talking about? I know his mother. I said, okay, fine, technically he's Jewish. There's a Jewish mother. So technically he's Jewish, but he's no Jew. What's up? He's not. The technical fact that he's Jewish, that's the least important thing to you? Well, he doesn't come to shul. Doesn't donate to the United Fund. In Ruchnis, the fact comes first. Ayid is Ayid. That's the first thing. After that, we can argue. You love him, you hate him, you have Rachmanis for him. So look at what happens. You have these two triangles, and you say, this is Begashmius like this, that you say this at the bottom. But Beruchnius, you say it should be over here. What happens if you take Yesod and put it over here? You just flip the bottom triangle so that Yesod will come up higher than Chesed and Gvura.
You get a Star of David.
You get a Magen David. You fold it up so that Yesod it's not a perfect Magen David, but if you can, whatever, it works. So Ruchnius means put the Yesod on top. Don't dismiss the facts, because that's where everything begins, and that's where emes lies. It's the Kav HaEmtzoi. What is Malchus? Malchus means take this whole thing with this whole drasha and tell somebody else. That's Malchus. Malchus means take this whole thing with all this information, with all these Sefiros, and tell someone else that they should also know about it. That's Malchus. Malchus is Peh. What is Malchus Datzilus? Malchus Datzilus is the guy who tells Bria all about Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, Netzach, Yesod. In other words, give what you have to the next Madrege. That's Malchus. So who's a real mensch? A person who has chagas or a person who has nihi?
They're both
the same thing.
A real mensch is a person who has nihi. Who is impressive and exciting and fun to be with? Chagas. What is a chassid?
Chabad.
A chassid is somebody whose chagas and nehi is guided by his Chabad. That in his chesed you can see a little seichel. It's not just chesed, it's chesed with a seichel. In his gvura you can see a little seichel. It's with a cheshbon. In his rachmanis you can see a little cheshbon. There's a little seichel that you can feel in his middays. That's why in the Maimer it says, Avram Avinu used to feed the Arabs, and he would give them all sorts of food, and then he would tell them to bench, and if they would say no, he would make them pay. So they would bench. Things haven't changed much. You pay somebody, they'll even bench. So what does that show? L'chayra, does that prove that he was a Baal Chesed? Or that he was a rip-off artist? If in the end he handcuffed you and forced you to bench, where's the kindness? The kindness is he gave you food, he fed you because he felt bad that you don't have what to eat. In addition to that, his chesed had a kavanah. Not only will I give you food for your neshama, I'll give you food for... Not only will I give you food for your body, I'll give you food for your neshama too. It's chesed with a cheshbon, with a kavanah, with a svara. It's not less chesed. It's a thoughtful chesed. That's Chabad. The four worlds is basically the bridge between me and you. How do I get to you? How does one person get to another person? So there are four stages. Atzilus is you. I am Asiya. How do I go from me to you, from Asiya to Atzilus? Atzilus basically means, I don't want your Gan Eden, ich will nur dir allein. Doesn't that happen in a friendship? Doesn't every teenage girl say, why can't you just accept me for me? Of course, you can't do that with a teenager because there is no me. But the instinct is there. I know you're doing me, you're telling me you're my friend, but you're not accepting me for me. My parents tell me I should do this, I should do that. Can't you accept me for me? Where is that in Chassidus? That's, ich will nicht dein Gan Eden, ich will nur dir allein. That's Atzilus. Atzilus means it's not about me at all. It's just about you. Bria means you make me very happy. Without you, I would be nothing. In Atzilus, I am nothing. In Bria, without you, I would be nothing. But I'm not nothing. That's Bria. So Bria means I am me, but you make such a big difference in my life. Yetzirah means me and you. You need me, I need you. We're best friends. Asiya means, what do you mean not doing it my way? If you don't do it my way, then I don't need you. So when you go from Asiya to Atzilus, it's like going from my way or nothing to your way. There is nothing else. And the steps in between is, it doesn't have to be my way. Let's compromise. I'll do for you, you do for me. There are some marriages that work like that. It's a partnership. And then there's a constant judgment. Wait a minute, I think I'm doing a little more for you than you're doing for me, so catch up.
That's zero?
Yeah. Bria means, you do much more for me than I do for you. I need you more than you need me. Atzilus means, what me? You! I got there. So, what practical? What is the difference? Very practical. The difference is, if I'm in Atzilus with you, we will never have an argument. That's what it says about Atzilus. That in Atzilus there are no questions. There are no contradictions. Practically speaking, it's a marriage in which we will never find a disagreement. In Bria, if there's a disagreement, I don't care. Have it your way, because you're more important than me. But no disagreement? In Yetzirah, if we have a disagreement, we're going to have to go to the Rav. Because we're stuck. I say like this, you say like that. Okay, we're stuck. Let's go to the Rav. Let's get arbitration. Or, okay, this time I'll give in to you. Next time you owe me, you'll give in to me. Asiya means you're disagreeing with me? Not acceptable. Even in mitzvahs, there are certain mitzvahs that are so obvious to you. Like Eva Minachai. Bite into a live animal. You don't want me to do that? I would never. That is so disgusting. It's disgusting? Oh, you're at tzaddik. At tzaddik is meyes bara. You find this ra disgusting? You're at tzaddik. You are. When it comes to this Aveda, you're at tzaddik. That's Atzilus. In Atzilus, there's no Avedas Hashem. There's no Aveda. It is Kedusha. A human being who is disgusted by something that is an Aveda, it's not an Aveda.
But is it because it's an Avera? That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so.
But for
I still, to me, it's got nothing to do with Avera, Nish, the Ratzon of the Abish, no, it's got to do with my Gashbistic character, my.
Fine. But the point is that when it comes to this Aveda, you have no disagreement with the Eibishter whatsoever.
Fine.
Whereas with most Avedas, it's like, I can see why you wouldn't want it, but I like it.
Right.
Here, there's no such thing. You're mamish on the same page. So in that, you're at tzaddik. The rest of you, there are some things that we are all beinanim. We could do it if, but nah. And then there are some things in which we are Rishoyim. Yeah, I would do that. So we exist on all levels. The trick is to be more on the higher level than on the lower level. That's the Aveda. So is Atzilus an abstract, spiritual emunah? When somebody says, I don't know what Atzilus is, you say, take it b'emunah. Just have emunah shlema that there's an Atzilus. No, that's not Chassidus. That's not Chabad. Then you might as well just read Zohar every Friday night.